Hi guys, welcome back. So we've got teams out for the two big games of Saturday, Wales versus Scotland and France versus Ireland. Now we were expecting changes for Wales, but we've also got changes for Scotland and also more changes for Scotland. So that's a little bit of an interesting one there, but let's go through it. It's a really interesting matchup. Who's the favourites? Well, you could say Scotland, but then Wales are at home and Scotland haven't won in Wales for a couple of decades. So I don't know. Let's call it another 50-50, and that's what makes it so exciting. Wales, they've got a lot to prove from their performance from last week, so they should be revved up at home, expecting a lot better things. And indeed, there's a few changes. Adams' week gets just worse, to be honest, poor lad. A bit of an injury rules him out, but I think it's only minor, so he should be back in later in the championship. But anyway, no, he can't carry on at 13 or move to the wing, so he is out. And the comeback is complete for Alex Cuthbert. He was named in the training squad, and now he's back in the starting 15, so amazing for him. And in the past, occasionally, he's been a bit of a pantomime villain, really, fairly or unfairly. Can he now become the hero? Well, it's certainly tricky time, so we'll see if his experience comes to the fore, but I'm a little bit worried he's lacking maybe that raw pace of old up against Van der Merwe and Graham, so we'll see how that works out. And McNichol actually drops out completely of the back three there, a casualty of the poor performance last week. So the back three, we've got Liam Williams at 15, Cuthbert on one wing and Lewis Rees-Zammit on the other. Again, Rees-Zammit didn't have the best game, so he'll be looking for a big one. Changes in the centres as well. So with Adams out, they've brought in Watkin into 13. Big chance for him. He's kind of been the nearly man for a while now, so let's see what he can do. And we've got the experienced Jonathan Davies coming onto the bench, so yeah, a fair bit to prove for a few guys there in the centres. Dan Biggar, 100 caps at fly half with Thomas Williams, so unsurprising there. And the props stay as they are, as I thought they might, because they had a decent scrummaging game. I did think maybe we'd see Lake as a start, but that would have been a bit of a gamble. So they've stuck with Elias, but hopefully we'll see Lake off the bench and maybe he will get his start, possibly against Italy. So that would be good to see. The engine room, Rowlands and Beard, stays the same, but I just want a little bit more from them in attack and defence. I mean, they grafted hard for sure, but I want some impact, some big tackles, some big carriers, because they are the heavy lifters. Big changes in the back row. Basham retains his place in the team but moves to 6. We see Jack Morgan, the debutant, coming in. Very exciting, incredibly fast. Him and Basham, absolute lightning pairing. Not the biggest though, so that'll be interesting. Will Wales have problems getting over the gain line with this forward pack? That's my only concern, really. Moriarty will help with that, but there's certainly a lot of weight on his shoulders. He is the sort of player you need coming in. Lots of experience, only 27, has had a lot of injuries recently, it feels. He replaces a Wainwright, who drops to the bench. Ellis Jenkins, another casualty, as I thought he might be in my previous video, because I didn't think he was the most effective. And then the bench, as you see there, Seb Davis, Wainwright, Gareth Davis, Sheedy again, and Jonathan Davis, the new name, coming onto the bench. So interesting to see how that goes. Also the 100th cap as well for Jonathan Davis if he comes on. Can Wales raise their game? Now looking at the Scottish team, 5 changes from the English match, some enforced. Ritchie has to drop out with injury. They've gone with Skinner at 6. A different sort of player, maybe not quite as quick, maybe a bit bigger. The line out should be pretty good with that, but he's got big shoes to fill, so they wouldn't have wanted that. That's a bit of a problem there, potentially. We'll see. The back line, a slight tweak. I did suggest in my video that I think I would drop Johnson out of the team, and indeed that's what they've done. Tuipulotu makes the start at 12. Possibly a bit more creative, a bit more of a running threat, so big chance for him, but untried really. Not a lot of experience, so that's the one tweak to the back line. But a big tweak, if you like, to the forward pack. I thought they might tweak the front row because I didn't think they were the best, but they've actually replaced the whole front row, opting to keep units together, which I guess is fine, but also this is a much changed pack, so continuity could be an issue, but they've gone Skoman, McAnally and Nell, possibly a slightly chunkier prop pairing, but it's a bit of a gamble. Second row's as is. And then in the back row, we see Sam Skinner come in, and then Hamish Watson and Fageson retain. On the bench, of course, the starting front row from last week, that's where they are. Then we've got Bradbury probably covering number 8 and Skinner, the starter, covering second row. And we do get to see Rory Darge come into the squad, which is great, something I suggested probably should happen as well. So that would be really exciting to see him come off the bench. White, who scored that try last week there. Blair Kinghorn covering 10 and probably the back 3 as well. Cameron Redpath, great to see him. Many of you guys want him in the team. He's certainly very different to any of the centres that Scotland have. A bit more of an all-rounder, a bit more of a fly half playing 12 if you like. So hopefully he can get over his injuries that punctuate his young career and get a good run of games. So guys, let me know what you think of those teams. Changes on both sides. Who do you think it's going to help? Who do you think it's going to disrupt? And who do you think is going to win? Okay, comment below on those. Okay, let's talk about the match that many see as the decider, France against Ireland. They're not rushing Henshaw and Henderson back into the starting team, but they are bringing them onto the bench and they're class players, so that's great. Really strengthens up their bench, I think, for sure. Although they have had a blow to their starting lineup, with Sexton, their captain, the guy who dictates the play, not available, with one of his little minor injuries, which is a bit of an issue with Sexton's game, picking up those minor injuries, but it's something that's going to happen, and Carbery needs to step in and fill the breach, as he did in the autumn. So good game experience for Carbery, that's one way to look at it, but certainly they will be disappointed not to have Sexton. The informed Carty comes in onto the bench, so big chance for him as well, and a big chance for James Ryan to step up as the captain. Now, during the autumn and the Six Nations before that, Ireland enjoyed a lot of good possession, as they did against Wales last week, and their attack looks so potent, they're going to score. If France can restrict that Irish possession, then maybe that bulk of France will come to the fore. But if they let Ireland run riot, they're going to score against them. So I really see possession being really important here. Looking at the team, we just see that one change in the backs with Carbery coming in, but some really exciting matchups. The wingers, Conway and Hansen, who were so impressive last week, well, they've got to go up against Villiers and Pinot. That's going to be brilliant. Bundyaki had a great game, like I say, keeping Henshaw out of the starting team. And the pack, exactly the same. Why would you change it? Porter, Kelleher, Furlong, Byrne, Ryan, Doris, Van der Vliet and Conan. Just a great mix of ability. Maybe not quite as pure size-wise as France, but who is? But such a great pack, really exciting to see. Then on the bench, like I said, the headlines, Henshaw and Henderson coming back in, so a stronger looking bench. Now finally looking at France, and if they needed to, well, they're supersizing even more with a 6-2 split on the bench. Certainly looking to power the Irish. It's going to be intense. A shame for them though, Dante is injured. That's a blow because he was looking a real beast, to be honest. A youngster coming in, 21-year-old Moefana from Bordeaux Begler, certainly giving away a fair bit of weight compared to Dante, so they're going to be a slightly different threat in midfield. So yeah, that's disappointing for France for sure. But apart from that, similar looking game. Can France get that fluency in attack? If they can get that going, I think they might be too much for Ireland, to be honest. But if they're dropping balls and it's all bobbling around like last week, I think Ireland are going to be too good. So certainly execution for France, a big one for this week. But there's the side as we see. Jaminet at fullback, Villiers and Pinot, of course, retain on the wings. Fiku moves to 13, and maybe he's covering back 3 as well, wings as well. Ramos can cover 15, Jaminet can come into 10, so they can cope with those 2 backs on the bench. And then Intermac, of course, at 10, and Dupont, who was so impressive, I thought, last week, just individually at 9. Then we've got Cross comes in for a start. Jalanche, I thought, was brilliant at 6. Such a good 6. Big and physical and athletic. Aldric can create. We've got the huge bulk of Willemse. And the athletic ability of Woki. And then the same front row. Cretin coming, dropping down onto the bench. Flamand coming on as well. And Luca and Ramos covering all those backs positions, as I mentioned. So it's a scary looking French team. If they had Dante in it as well, it'd be almost perfect for them. Maybe looking to monster the Irish pack. Are they going to keep it a bit tighter and then maybe open up a bit towards the end? We will see. I imagine Ireland will maybe start a little bit faster on the expanse. We will see as well, but that's how I predict it going. Who's my favourite? Like I said, if France execute, I think them. If they're messy and sloppy, I think it's Ireland. So how do you see it going, guys? comment on all those teams, and I will catch you next time.